Welcome back to the Papa Meat channel. How you doing? How you doing? Come in and sit on down because today we're talking about more cursed objects. We did a video on the most cursed places, but one of those things was Robert, the Jamaican cursed doll. Yeah, robot. Which got us into thinking about more cursed objects because we've also talked about the Dybbuk box. Oh, but that's probably not real. But there has to be some real evil objects out there, haunted, cursed by the devil himself. And I want to talk about more of those today, starting off with the devil's rocking chair. What'd I tell you? The devil, he works in mysterious ways. Should the devil be hot? Because he's God's, he says the most beautiful angel. What if God's like, you're beautiful? And he's like, definitely not.
That's why homosexuality is a sin, because the devil tempts you with his body.
That adds up. I feel like if I saw the devil, dude, I'd be chubbed up big time. Not hard, not hard. I'm only hard for the Lord, Nick. But I might get chubbed up for the devil. All right. Today's video is sponsored by Displate. Displate's metal posters let you capture your true passions in any room without the hassle. And with over 2 million artworks available in the Displate catalog, there's a lot to love. Discover new, original art, or choose from an array of officially licensed designs like Star Wars, Warhammer, One Piece, or Call of Duty. Good art should stick around, and Displate's magnet mounting system makes that possible with their fast, easy setup. Absolutely no power tools needed and 0 holes in your wall, just stickers. Plus, around this time of year, you're probably thinking about gifts. If you're running out of time, Displate has got you covered. Everything you order will ship in 4 to 5 business days, just in time for the holidays. I love Displate for the One Piece stuff, and they're so durable. Displate is celebrating Black Friday with their biggest discounts of the year. To get 44% off your order, use code PAPAMEAT or use my link in the description. That's code PAPAMEAT or click the link in the description. Thank you for Displate for sponsoring this video. The Devil's Rocking Chair. This was a case from the archives of Lorraine and Ed Warren. They're con people. They're not. They're criminals. Also, I think they're Italian.
Mamma mia!
They look Italian.
It is a spicy meatball.
The famous paranormal investigative duo that you may know from the Conjuring series, Ed and Lorraine Warren. Actors look so much hotter than the actual couple. It should be a crime. Why can't they just put fucking ugly fat people in these roles?
But he likes ugly fat people.
True. The story is actually a core plot of The Conjuring 3, The Devil Made Me Do It. Devil's Rocking Chair is said to be the cause of demonic possession and even murder. God, who the fuck is this? Is this Lorraine? God.
I don't know, but TMZ took a picture.
Yeah, I like how TMZ's just like, this is ours. This is ours. Okay? We got a video about Leonardo DiCaprio and we got the Devil's Rocking Chair. Okay? There's a haunting. Is that a man? It's a woman. Oh, God. It's hard for me to move past it, if I'm being honest, my lord. The chair was owned by the Glatzel family in the 1950s. They had owned the chair for 30 years without noticing any strange occurrences. That is, until 1980, when 11-year-old David Glatzel was possessed by an evil spirit that appeared to be half animal with hooves, horns, and spiky teeth. Ever since that night, David became a different person. He was anxious and disconnected from the world around him.
Going through puberty.
Yeah, 11-year-old boy's balls drop and he gets hairs on his balls and testicles. No one likes me. He used to be such a bright kid. What happened? Nothing, God! The nightmares would become more and more intense for David, who would wake up to bruises and markings on his body. How do we know that someone's not fucking giving him a Full Metal Jacket, going in this room with a bar of soap and a sock and just beating the hell out of him?
Maybe it's Ed.
Yeah, it's Ed and Lorraine sneaking in, spinning a sock. The devil's making me do it, David. The beast would roam throughout the daytime, taking a liking to the rocking chair. The family reported that it would slowly rock back and forth on its own from time to time. I like that little end bit. It would rock back and forth. Every once in a while. On a blue moon, it very rarely happens. It keeps going more and more. Lorraine and Ed Warren were eventually called to perform an exorcism as David began to feel he was turning into a beast itself.
I got these hair. Am I a werewolf? Werewolf? I got an asshole and taint hair now. Why is that?
During the exorcism, David was reported to have levitated and contorted his body. Ed and Lorraine said that he flew and he folded up like a goddamn origami swan. Okay, do you have pictures? They're like, no, we didn't.
Cameras malfunction near spirits.
That's one thing how has there not been a camera company that has made paranormal exclusive technology? It would sell like hotcakes, Nick. It would sell like hotcakes.
The devil doesn't want it to work.
And therefore, it won't work. 24-year-old Arnie Johnson, the fiance of David's sister, decided to take matters into his own hands. Arnie went to the first spot David claimed to see the demon so he could provoke it and ask to take him instead. I like to imagine the guy has like a pop collar. He's like, leave the fucking kid alone and take me, motherfucker, take me. They were able to successfully remove the demon from David and restore control to his body. However, upon leaving, it soon entered Arnie Johnson. He would come to have the same visions as David. Yeah, which it was odd, but it did possess the man who provoked it, and he did have similar nightmares. When Johnson became possessed, things took a much more violent turn. He was charged with murdering his landlord and stabbing him repeatedly, which his fiance witnessed fully. God damn. Arnie's just like, I got the devil in me. She's like, okay, thank you. During the court case, they tried to use demonic possession as a defense, but to no avail. Johnson was found guilty and sentenced to 10 to 20 years in prison. He served 5 years and was released for good behavior. What? You just stabbed the landlord to death. You stabbed a human being to death. Yeah, 5 years is fine. Go ahead. Go on, Arnie. You rapscallion. Surprisingly, the Glatzells kept the rocking chair even after moving houses. Because of this, they were never fully rid of the paranormal occurrences. People who sat in the chair would suffer severe back pain that required medical attention. The chair was eventually purchased by Zach Bagans for $67,000, and it was placed in his Haunted Museum in Las Vegas. Of course it would be. Zach can't just not let things be. He has to own every piece of paranormal paraphernalia out there. Also, it's probably a fucking uncomfortable rocking chair, dude. I bought this chair for $67,000. Don't sit in it, you'll get back pains from a demon. Let me get this straight. David sat in a chair when he was 11, and he's like, I'm turning into a monster. We believe that it was him basically just going through puberty, balls dropping. He's probably getting horny, hard for no reason. It's the worst time in a boy's life when they get hard for no reason at all. And then all of a sudden, I think Arnie Johnson, he's like, you know what, I'm gonna take this demon. I think Arnie saw it as an opportunity because he's like, I'm gonna fucking kill my landlord. I'm gonna use this as an opportunity to say, oh, I was possessed, and then murdered this guy. And then he got out. I can see a guy named like Arnie Johnson. I imagine he's in a pink polo, popped collar, and he's listening to like Motley Crue. You gotta turn it down, Arnie. There's like 7 other families who live here. He's like, sure, would you mind coming up to my apartment real quick? I want to show you something. Next up, we have the paintings of Arshile Gorky. There's no way I said that name right. The paintings of Arshile Gorky have been linked to several paranormal occurrences, from spontaneously catching fire to inviting the presence of ghostly figures and even tragic death on a large scale. We gotta define what that means.
Oh, we will.
Oh, we're gonna have to, because even I'm like, Many believe this is due to the horribly sad and disturbing life of the painter, who lived through the terrors of the Armenian genocide. At age 14, he and his mother embarked on the 150-mile death march as a result of mass deportation. Were you having a good day? Just wanted to soil it for you. Thank you. They struggled to survive in their new home, and his mother eventually died in his arms from starvation. This is a comedy video. He fled to America at age 16 to live with his estranged father, eventually taking up painting and creating a Russian identity to escape persecution, deciding on the name Arshile Gorky. Oh, I want a Russian identity. Arshile Gorky, please. What? I thought the generic Russian name was like Nikolai.
Nikolai Deshpolpovich, huh? Vladimir Polshka. Vladimir Polshka, yeah. Arshile Gorky?
Even his later years as a painter, father, and husband, tragedy continued to strike. Gorky's studio had suddenly caught fire and destroyed most of his work. Only 1 month later, Gorky was diagnosed with colon cancer. The following operations broke him physically and emotionally. Once again, comedy video. Hope you're laughing. His marriage worsened amongst the turmoil, leading to his wife having an affair with a fellow painter he befriended. In the divorce, she took the children. This is a man who was just not meant... He was not meant to live long. God. That same week, a gallery owner gave Arshile a ride home while drunk. The car crashed, and Gorky suffered severe fractures to his neck and back, and he was forced to wear a neck brace to keep his head upright. In the end, Arshile was left a shell of himself. He hung himself from the rafter of his barn and died in 1948. 24 years after his death, in 1962, tragedy struck on American Airlines Flight 1, which was routed to Los Angeles. 15 of Gorky's paintings were aboard that plane, making its way to an art exhibition. Minutes after taking flight, the plane rolled over and crashed into a nearby swamp. 87 passengers and 8 crew members died, and every single Arshile Gorky painting was destroyed in the accident. Let me ask you this. Does that even feel like the paintings?
Damn.
I think it's just Arshile. I feel bad for the guy, but at the same time, I'm like, you should have just isolated yourself. What could you possibly paint? How could you have any mental bandwidth to even put brush to canvas after a life like that? You have to wear a goddamn cast to keep your head like still. He's just like, miss my wife. Miss my wife. Next up, Letta the Haunted Doll.
Perhaps the most famous and certainly the ugliest, the Demon Doll.
I don't think, is Letta gonna even hold a candle to my boy Robert? We're gonna see. Letta the doll was believed to be a product of 18th century Eastern Europe, and it has been deemed one of the most haunted dolls in the world. They should just get rid of that title. You know how many haunted dolls where they're like, seriously, this one's the most haunted. If Robert or bust. Well, actually, who do you think would win in a paranormal fight? Robert or Annabelle? With his giant club feet. The doll was found in the 1970s when two brothers explored an abandoned house in New South Wales, Australia. The doll was found under the floorboards and taken home, and the doll was dubbed Letta Me Out. Due to jokes being made about the doll seemingly moving out of the bag, it was put inside. I like how that's a cute name. The doll moves itself out of the bag on its own, and the Australian's like, oh my god, look at that. I'm gonna let it out of the bag, eh? It was also discovered that the doll's hair was 100% real. Okay. The Letta doll, not gonna lie, pretty haunting looking. This looks like any lesbian New York stand-up comic I've seen in the past 10 years. Can I just put that out there? Can I be so bold to put that out there? Letta looks like a New York lesbian stand-up comic. That or Adam Friedland. I can't tell. Letta was known to move around by itself, leaving small scuff marks from its shoes all throughout the house. Being in close proximity to the doll has led many witnesses to scream, vomit, and pass out. It said dogs that came in contact with it would constantly try to tear it apart. Hey, don't put your dog near that thing for real. That doesn't seem that crazy. It's a dog.
A little yummy treat.
But this dog's possessed. It's like, no, it's a dog. If I was a dog, I'd bite the shit out of that thing. Look at it, it's ugly.
Could be the human hair too. Maybe it smells like weird to them.
Yeah. Do you keep a doll that has human hair?
No.
No.
It's in the garbage.
I'm even I'm being honest, like when I hear this, I was like, oh, toothbrushes or paintbrushes, or it's boar hair. Boar hair, Nick. Oh, this one's made of horse hair. Witnesses have claimed to see many paranormal things surrounding Letta the doll. Like facial expression changes. These things happen, and I constantly ask myself, why do you not just throw it away? Would you not be like, cool? You just take it and just bye-bye.
Maybe they tried getting rid of it.
They never tried getting rid of it, dude.
That's what Robert tried to get rid of it, and it would always come back because the little kid would probably dig it.
Well, yeah, the kid was digging it back up. I mean, he kept the whole thing his whole life. He was a freak. He was attached to it. Items surrounding the doll being moved or falling from the walls. So basically knocking off picture frames, toys around it being moved. Sudden destruction of light bulbs. Letta's causing power surges and having bulbs explode. And rain whenever the doll is transported in moving vehicles. That's you can't get me with that one. All right, I was kind of like, oh, this is kind of creepy, right? The doll has radiation in its hair and it blows up a light bulb. But it's like, really? Don't want rain? Don't move, Letta. Don't put her in a vehicle because it will rain. The doll still remains with its original owners. What? And today he refused to sell it out of some sort of obligation that he now feels he has to care for it.
Insane.
They're insane. And here's the thing. I know there's a lot of people who are going to be like, oh, well, it's obviously fake. It's fake. Let's say it is real. It is real. How do you even communicate with somebody who's just like, I just like being tortured? Well, it's just a mysterious doll, it blows up light bulbs and makes it rain. What if Letta was one of the reasons that caused the hurricane? A big topic of discussion right now is weather machines and how a certain political group is fucking causing the weather to happen on this election cycle. How do we know it isn't that man with Letta out in the ocean? Just like, how do we know, Nick? We can't know. Next up, the Hope Diamond. The Hope Diamond is a blue diamond that was extracted in the 17th century. While famous on its own for its size and beauty, the diamond has been removed for carrying a curse that has led to the untimely demise of several people throughout history. You know what it kind of looks like? It looks like the heart of the ocean from Titanic.
Oh, you're right.
Could be. That old bitch, and she's just like,
It's been 90 years.
or whatever she says.
Was she actually alive when they made Titanic?
Hell no, dude. I bet they're not even fucking real, I bet, dude. Was Rose from Titanic real? And Leo?
Leo wasn't.
Oh, so now it's okay, yeah. Collected in India, the rare diamond was originally purchased by King Louis XIV from Jean-Baptiste Tavernier, who claimed to have acquired it from the Kolar mine of the Golconda region. Definitely didn't say that stuff right. After being stolen during the French Revolution, it was found in the collection of King George IV, and after his death, it was bought by Lord Philip Hope in 1830, which is where the name Hope Diamond comes from.
I wonder why.
What do you mean you wonder why? It's because his name's Philip Hope. Some of the notable deaths of this diamond's possessors include Marie Antoinette. What happened to her? Just kidding. She inherited the diamond after King Louis XIV's death, only to be guillotined 9 months later during the Revolution for crimes against the state. See that Gojira performance? Sick. Or Princess Marie Louise, Marie Antoinette's close confidant. She wore the diamond temporarily, only to die soon after during the September Massacre in 1792. This was during the Revolution, when the mobs of Parisians murdered people, mostly prisoners, believed to be the Old Order. The French Revolution sounds fun. Good time. French Revolution video? People would love that. You know why I don't want to do it? Because I hate the French. Or we can talk about Willem Falls, a Dutch jeweler that shaped the uncut 115-carat diamond into its current shape. And after doing so, his son allegedly stole it from him before murdering his father and then taking his own life. You know what the curse is? It's that it's like you can't trust a single human being to have just like a nice thing. No one can ever just let somebody have a nice thing. This is the curse. Or Simon Marchand, a Greek merchant who briefly owned the Hope Diamond, and after reselling it in 1910 to Pierre Cartier, he took his own life by driving off a cliff with his wife and his child in the car. It almost seems like people who own it and then they get rid of it, that's when they're cursed. It's almost like the Hope Diamond's just like, you have to stay with me forever. Or we can talk about Evelyn Walsh McLean, owner of the Washington Post. After buying it from Pierre in 1912, her mother-in-law and son died abruptly. Soon after, her husband left her, but was declared legally insane in divorce proceedings. He passed away in a psychiatric hospital. Lastly, her daughter died of a drug overdose. And then finally, James Todd, the man tasked with delivering the diamond to the Smithsonian, crushed his leg and received serious head wounds in 2 car accidents. A large part of his house in Maryland also burned down. I will say so far in the list that to me, I'm like, this feels like the actual most cursed object so far. I would say out of all of them so far, you would not see me dead wearing or touching that necklace, dude. But we can also talk about the Thomas Busby chair. A lot of chairs, dude. Also, you can't go from Devil's rocking chair to the Thomas Busby chair. This better be good. Thomas Busby was a criminal and drunk living in North Yorkshire in the 1600s. We're already off to a good start. Thomas Busby from Fayette, Yorkshire, eh? Yeah, in the town drunk. You. He married a woman named Elizabeth, whose father was an equally deplorable small-time crook. This man, named Daniel Awady, owned a farm that was customized to aid his crimes. The farm he named Donati Hall featured a hidden room connected by a secret pathway to the cellar. Busby and Awady befriended each other, committing crimes as a team. However, they did not get along well. Dun, dun, dun. As the story goes, Thomas Busby and Awady began a heated argument that led to Awady threatening to take Elizabeth away from him. Busby was further enraged by the fact that Awady was sitting in his favorite chair, which he promptly threw him off before returning home for the night. The argument had kept Busby up at night, and in his anger, he grabbed a hammer, returned to Donati Hill, and beat Awady to death. This is some serious 1600 behavior. Busby attempted to hide the body in the woods, but failed. His remains were discovered, and Busby was charged with murder and given a death sentence in 1702. Not only was he being hanged from a gibbet, but his body would be dipped in tar and presented in front of the inn that he owned, now renamed Busby's Stoop Inn. Dude, how brutal, man. How f***ed up is that? You're gonna be hung, but they're gonna dip you in molten hot fucking tar. You know they threw feathers on him and shit too. That is one thing. If I could go back in the day, I would tar and feather somebody in a heartbeat. Wouldn't you not?
Probably if I was at the time.
At the time, yeah, you know how fun that would be. What else are you gonna do? Read a book?
Doesn't happen every day too, so that's like a big event.
Yeah, it is a big event. It's almost just being like, oh my god, they're gonna tar and hate somebody, you know, and then you fucking kill a chicken, like rip out the feathers real quick. Many deaths and paranormal occurrences have been linked to the inn, specifically his favorite chair. Supposedly on the way to his death, he cursed the chair and anyone who would choose to sit in it. Once again, I believe that to be true 100%. A guy being like, don't fucking sit in my chair when I'm done. And in 1894, a chimney sweep that briefly sat in the chair left to sleep in his car, only to be found the next morning hanging from a nearby gate post. First off, a chimney sweep that briefly sat in a chair that he went to sleep in his car on the job.
Yeah.
I hate to say, but maybe somebody hung him because he wasn't doing his job very well. You ever think about that? In 1968, 2 airmen who dared each other to sit in the chair died the next day in a fatal car crash. Were airmen, were they pilots? 2 pilots are like, oh, and then they die on the ground in a car. Is that ironic? It feels ironic. In 2007, a manager for the pub once saw a towering, armless figure with an indistinct visage on the upstairs landing. It saddled sideways and vanished through the wall. Basically, he saw a fucking ghost in 2007, is what it sounds like. Was it the ghost of Busby? Or was it the ghost of the pilots? Eventually, the chair was secured in a cellar before being donated to the Thirsk Museum. It now sits untouched for decades, high up on a wall to prevent anyone from sitting on it. That's kind of up, dude. You think even if you just touch it, you're still cursed?
You gotta sit in it.
You have to sit. Okay. I wonder if you talk shit on the chair if you also get cursed? I wouldn't sit in that. It looks uncomfortable. Busby's just like, it's a comfy chair, you fuck. Or we can talk about the Iceman curse. The Iceman, known as Otzi, a 5,300-year-old mummified hunter that was discovered by a German tourist in Tyrolean Alps in 1991. Yeah, that's kind of recent. In terms of finding like a preserved body, how often do we find, you probably don't find preserved bodies that much, do you? While the discovery itself was celebrated, there's a dark and strange phenomenon in which those that helped retrieve Otzi were subjected to unfortunate deaths. This was known as the Iceman curse. In 1992, forensic pathologist Rainier Hen used his bare hands to help put the mummified corpse into a body bag. Later, while on his way to give the lecture about the Iceman, he died in a fatal car accident. Ooh, I don't know if I would touch the body even if it's that old with my bare hands. Put some gloves on, dude. Is there still bacteria? Would he still have bacteria if he's that preserved? Or would he just be clean?
That's like a big thing going on right now as the ice caps are melting. Bacteria that was like lay dormant is now awakening. Lovecraftian.
Cthulhu. Kurt Fritz, the mountain guide that helped Rainier Hen uncover the body, died in a sudden avalanche after being struck by falling rocks. And next was Rainier Hosel, who was doing camera work for an internationally produced documentary about Otzi's extraction from the ice. And several months after the broadcast, he passed away due to a brain tumor that developed soon after the program was broadcasted. And in 2004, Helmut Simon, one of the original discoverers of Otzi, died falling 300 feet from a cliff during a hike in Austria. A sudden blizzard interrupted their travels, carrying off the ledge and burying him in ice. Dieter Warneck was the head of the mountain rescue team sent to find Simon before his death. An hour after the funeral, he died of a heart attack. And 1 year later, Konrad Spindler, the archaeologist who inspected Otzi's body, died of complications of multiple sclerosis. It was known that he had always scoffed at the idea of a curse, even joking about how he would surely be the next victim. Then the seventh and final death related to the Iceman was Tom Loy, a molecular archaeologist who was responsible for determining Otzi's exact cause of death. He had written a book on Otzi, but was killed after being diagnosed with hereditary blood condition soon after completing it. It seems a little serendipitous that they all have something die. Not one guy who's just like, yeah, I died of old age. The only one was kind of a bit of a jump. I'm like in 2004. I'm like, okay, well, dude, how long is this curse? When I think of a curse, I think of something it happens immediately. You're cursed, you're flying home, something happens, boom. Can't wait almost a decade? I don't know if I buy that. Out of all these, I would say the necklace, the Hope Diamond, that one me up a little bit. Or the stoop, the 1600 stool. I would not be sitting in that man's chair, all right, because people would curse the shit out of that, I guarantee you. But you know, there's something very inherently creepy about curses, right? Stumbling upon something and being given negative energy that might kill you even. Somebody in their last moments on this earth cursing something and wishing nothing but harm on everyone else who interacts with it. Pretty devious. Is there power in curses? Can you be cursed? I'm not sure. I know one thing. My fat superstitious ass isn't going to figure it out by trying any of it. If something's cursed, I'm not going near it, Nick. Same with like Robert. You wouldn't see me with Robert. I know people say that we talk to them, we interact with them by making these videos or pictures. Nah, I don't buy that. He's far away, dude. He doesn't even know I'm talking about him. But with stories like the Hope Diamond or the Iceman, it really makes you wonder if there's really something supernatural or malicious going on that we humans just simply can't comprehend. And in that way, it makes the universe a whole lot more interesting. So without further ado, that was the Cursed Objects video. We hope to see you in the next one. Bye-bye, everybody.
Children have been asking us to make dolls with real growing hair for years now. The only problem is the current technology doesn't allow for that, so we've turned to the next best thing. A voodoo witch doctor named Captain Oogie who can transfer human souls into plastic dolls to give them lifelike characteristics. You can even modify the amount of humanity within the doll using our patented Soul Now.